I think many of us think if you have a small area or desk, you need a small computer, maybe a handful of peripherals or accessories, but you could actually do so much more even with a limited amount of space. And that's kind of what we got done here. And this is actually almost a fully Corsair-based desk setup. And the real star of the show here is the desk. This desk right here is actually called their Platform 4. This is a standing desk. So that means it is on a motor, so you can increase the height, decrease it with the press of a button. And this thing is absolutely amazing. So this desk actually starts off 47 by 30. It's a really compact desk, and I thought, perfect. I'm gonna have it in this little corner. It's not gonna take up a lot of space. But what's amazing about this desk, besides it being a standing desk, is Corsair was extremely intentional about the things that you can do with this desk. As you can see, there's like this rail system over here. It actually has more railing parts on the left and right side. So with that railing system that we have on the right side, I was actually able to extend the desk a little bit more. Once we built a PC, which we'll talk about in a second, I figured, you know what? There's not a lot of space on this, and this thing just looks too awesome to have it on the floor. So I added this extra portion that Corsair has available, threw my PC on it. But the overall idea here is that this can be a really compact desk. But the thing is, you can fit a monitor, lights, your microphone, speakers, the whole, I have everything you would need on this desk. And it doesn't take up any extra space. With this railing system, you could actually add a bunch of components on it without it taking up the real estate that you have going on your main surface. So you can have all of your accessories up top, and what's really great is that you can get super clean cable management down below. So I actually untied this earlier. Don't mind that. You can get really clean cable management though. You can see none of that is hanging down below besides some of the longer cables that we need. So this desk is dope because it allows for a really compact area that lets you put all of the things you would need if you want to go all out without needing a lot of space. But I think one of my favorite things about this desk is the monitor arm. So on the railing system, I've got this monitor arm that you can move the position anywhere across the rail. You're able to bring the monitor out, bring it down, bring it up, move it out the way. This is really cool because typically you have a monitor, it has a stand that it lives on that eats up a lot of space on your desk. With this, it just picks it up, puts it out the way, and it gives you a lot of flexibility on where it actually lives.
So convenient.
It is extremely convenient. Now what's great is that Corsair actually owns Elgato. So a lot of the accessories you would want for let's say streaming, playing games, any of that kind of stuff, these key lights or even a webcam on a stand, they actually work really well with the desk because you can take the stand and literally screw it into different columns that you have here. It is so well thought out. This ecosystem that Corsair and Elgato put together, it really works so well. I honestly think a desk like this is a streamer's dream. But for me, this desk is the most important part of keeping this area super clean and compact. Like I said, if I didn't add this portion here, it would look really compact. So if you don't have a lot of space to work with, the Platform 4, definitely a good option. Now, let's say you want all of that modularity and you want all the bells and whistles, and you don't need to be confined to a small area or a corner like this. I think Corsair also has a Platform 6, which is a bigger option, so you can go ahead and pick what works best for you. This desk right here is about $8.99, which sounds like a lot, but I think depending on what you want to use the desk for and what your setup is going to be built out for, this is actually a really good buy, a solid investment, seriously. And if you want to go even crazier, they have a pegboard extension so that you can mount things to the top of your desk, so you always have quick access to it. It's built into the desk, you attach it to it, it's a part of the desk. I don't have that here, and I think I'm all right without it because I just want to keep the things here clean. But if you really need to optimize your space, you can add that to your desk and have some of your extras just sitting on top. But the Platform 4, I definitely think, is the star of the show here and absolutely makes having a small space okay while having a fully decked out setup. But now we've got to talk about all the other stuff that really makes this desk setup come to life. We'll start off with the PC build. So Oscar and I actually put this PC together. It was it was a pretty simple process, right?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I love working in that cave.
it is a lot of space in there. It's also really well thought out. Like the way that you can map and run the cables in the back, it just makes a lot of sense. And honestly, we kind of went crazy with the specs in here. Now, if you're a longtime viewer, you might remember my first personal PC build. I wanted to call it Flood, but it was more like Leak for a long time because I needed to fix it up. But it became Flood and it was awesome. This feels like the evolution of that PC. Now, this guy is actually inside of the Corsair Frame 5000D case. So it's a mid-tier case. Now, in terms of this guy's specs, we've got an Intel Core Ultra 9 285K, 64 gigs of Corsair DDR5 RAM, and we also have the NVIDIA RTX 5080 graphics card. But we have a bunch of other awesome Corsair parts in here, like the SSDs. The SSDs that we have in here, it's actually Corsair's MP700 Elite SSD, insanely fast. We got like 2 of them, so we have 4 terabytes of storage, but it's so fast, it's ridiculous.
Now, I do have to call out that Intel chip because it makes doing anything from gaming, video editing, streaming, and a ton more super smooth. But for me, what's really impressive here is the fact that it also has an NPU, which means it can handle AI stuff without taking away from anything else that I'm doing at the moment. So obviously it has a lot of power, and none of that has to get used up while working on AI tasks.
And honestly, this build is just amazing. You know, we wanted to fill out the build. There's like one section that's just a little bit open and we needed to add something to it. So we threw a Gundam inside of here. I think he adds to the aesthetic, the look of it all. It looks really good with him inside of here. We actually messed around with this external monitor that we have inside of there. It looked awesome and it added, I think, some pretty solid functionality and glanceable information. But for the most part, we wanted to leave that out here. We're gonna touch on that in just a second. Aesthetically, this thing I think looks awesome. We went for like an all white build. Obviously the motherboard and GPU aren't white, but what can you do? But one thing I want to call out though is our CPU cooler has an LCD screen so that you can put animations on it. So we got a couple of GIFs running over here. Some of my favorite characters, you know, I had to do some Gundam, but that thing looks amazing. It just adds some personality to your PC. I mean, if you want, you can have like data on there. You can see temperatures of like your CPU. Who needs all that? Just play your stuff. Let's have fun. Aesthetics. But yes, this is our PC build over here. Do people still name their PCs?
Yeah, we should name it.
We should name it. What do you guys think we should call it? Let me know with a comment down below. Jean-Baptiste, that's a very Haitian name, Shane. So this is our beast of a PC. Shout out to Oscar for knocking that out with me. So that's what we've got powering this whole desk. But in terms of the other accessories and peripherals for this monitor, we've got the Samsung Odyssey G8 OLED. And this thing is a beast of a monitor. It's 32 inches, 4K with a 240 hertz refresh rate. One thing I love about this, it's a QD OLED display, but it has burn-in protection. It has like a thermal system in here. So as you're using it and you're playing all your games and whatnot, you don't have to worry about burn-in as much as you do with like your typical OLED displays. This thing has been absolutely fantastic. And when you're not using it as a monitor, you could even just use it as a smart TV. It comes with a remote and everything. So if you just want to watch content on like Netflix, YouTube without turning on your computer, you can do that. Samsung, so obviously it makes sense. This is an awesome monitor and I had to have it for this setup. It looks really good, and for gaming, forget about it. Now, of course, we have another monitor over here. This guy right here is the Corsair Xeneon Edge. And this thing is a really interesting way of switching up your setup. Because of all of the extra real estate we got back from the monitor being able to sit up here, I was able to add this with no worries, not taking up a lot of space. But what's really cool about this is you get a ton of glanceable information if you want to know how your computer is running, like your temperatures, if you're nerdy like that, or if you want to just be able to play some music. You have touch controls. This is a touch screen. You can add like your clock and like pictures and images. You can even play YouTube videos, that kind of stuff on here. But what's really sick about this is if you don't want to use any of those widgets, you can actually go into the software and you can just turn it off completely. And then you can just take it and have it as a second display. That part I think is really cool and adds some extra functionality that I don't think a lot of people are used to. That's cool. Like you can have content playing over here. Maybe you like listening to podcasts or maybe watching podcasts while you do some other work on your computer. You can kind of have that running in the background or down below, just not have it be in the way. I love that because it adds some of the functionality of a second display without needing an entire second display. Compact setup, extra screen down at the bottom. I think that's cool. But I also just love the fact that this display can live inside of our case over here. If you want to add a little bit more to your PC, you can throw one of those bad boys in there. It actually just works really well. We've got magnets holding it together with this stand. So you can take these off and then just easily place it in that open area on the side. Super easy to add. Now, in terms of the keyboard, we've got the Corsair Pro 96. This is actually a really awesome keyboard. It feels really good to type on this. So awesome typing experience here. Keys sound like butter. They've also got like a built-in display over here. I haven't been able to get any GIFs to work on it just yet, but you can customize this with some GIFs. But you also have your volume control knob on the side. So lots of functionality here. Some macro buttons on the left side. It feels good. I really like this keyboard. I'm just waiting for it to work with the IQ software. Now for the mouse, I went with the Logitech G502X. This is an awesome mouse. The aesthetic works really well with what we've got going on over here. This is one of the most comfortable mice that you can use. This thing is absolutely awesome. So had to add it here. Now we also have a bunch of Elgato accessories. So we've got the Elgato Wave 3 on an Elgato arm. This is great, obviously, for streaming. You can control where your mic is. Lots of flexibility here. It's a good sounding mic, so everything you need. When I'm not using it, I kind of have it tucked away. And whenever I want to, I can pull it out. We know how boom arms work. And while of course this is great for like streaming and all that stuff, low key, one of my favorite things to do with this is use Copilot. So I've been calling out to Copilot, asking it for like troubleshooting tips and questions. It's actually been way more useful than I think a lot of people might give it credit for. If you guys don't know all the dope things you can do with Copilot and like your mic now, I'll have a video linked down below. You guys should check it out.
And I know you don't really think about AI when it comes to using a mic like this, but with that Intel Core Ultra chip, the build handles AI tasks really well, on top of being able to handle all of the gaming stuff I throw at it.
It actually changes the way you use your computer. For me personally, it's been a big shift. I like it. Now we also have the StreamDeck Plus over here. Streamers know how vital this is. Me personally, I just love having the extra controls to do things on my computer. And I just like being able to have my games all available right here with the press of a button. And then I can launch whichever one I want, hit okay. And then boom, this thing will start loading up the games that I want to play. I love that. It makes life a lot easier than having to go into Steam and then clicking the app and pressing play, like just 2 presses, super fast. So I like the utility that you get out of this more so than anything, but we also have other Elgato products here. We have one of the biggest webcams I've ever used. This is the Elgato Facecam 4K, and it's actually a pretty solid webcam, has a big sensor. You guys can see the quality for yourself. I'll shoot some footage so that you guys can see what that looks like. So if you're trying to stream, you can see that there. I will say, it is massive. What is cool though, is if you wanted to have this on like a stand similar to the key light I have over here, you can have that propped up on the side or even the monitor arm. But yeah, this is the Elgato's Facecam 4K. It's a really solid option if you want to stick with the Elgato ecosystem for doing all of your streaming. And over here, obviously we have the Elgato key light, and this thing is an awesome light, honestly. For what you get here, it can get really bright. I can change the brightness. Dang. It is crazy. And of course you can change the temperature. So if you want like a nice warm light, you know, homey vibes, want something super cool. I feel like if you're a streamer, the key light is a must. And I just love the fact that this thing does not take up any real estate on the desk. And to wrap it all up, we have some Edifier. This is the QR65s. These are awesome speakers. I love the look of them. It has that like infinity mirror look, so you can see the RGB lights going in the back more and more and more until it disappears. That is absolutely awesome. But you also have these knobs on the side, which let you control the speakers. So you can see just how high your volume is based on the amount of light around the square or rectangle, whatever. It's cool. You can also change the brightness here, and then when you press in, you can change the lighting effects. And it actually has some pretty dope lighting effects. So I like these speakers not only because they're cool looking, but they actually sound really good too. I just feel like it completes the setup with the whole look that we've got going on over here with the black and white, with the subtle RGBs. So it looks really good. Now, those are our speakers, but I've also got a little headphone hanger over here attached to the side of this desk. And these are the Grell OAE ones in combination with Drop. So these are a pair of open back headphones. So that means you can still hear your surroundings a little bit, but what this does, it gives you a wider sound stage. So when you're gaming on a system like this and your sounds are coming in, it just feels like an open field. It is actually really cool. Now, this doesn't have like a mic or anything on it, but I don't need one because of the Wave 3 over here. If you're just looking for like an interesting perspective on sound while you're gaming or listening to music, these are actually really nice, and they're like $130 right now, and they typically go for like $300. This is actually a really nice pickup. I had it on the wrong side. It's like a pet peeve of mine. But yeah, these are actually pretty cool. All of this right here is sitting on this little cheap Amazon felt desk mat. I love these things because they just feel really comfortable instead of like, the typical hard surface. This is a really nice surface, so I love having these on pretty much all my desks. Like I even have that on our floor over here. Not only does it protect this hardwood, but it feels comfortable, and it also helps my chair from gliding away. So this chair right here is the TC500 Luxe gaming chair. Now, Corsair did an awesome job with this chair, but I went and changed the wheels because you guys know me. I love these rubber wheels that are just like, it's really easy to like get around when you're on these, but it's almost too easy. The chair tends to escape from the desk with very little effort. It's insane. So this mat actually helps because I don't like having those rollers on the hardwood so it doesn't scratch it up, and in a couple of years this place is gonna look crazy. This protects the hardwood floor and it stops this guy from rolling all the way while I'm just trying to game and relax. And this is a super comfortable chair. What I love about this is the amount of customization like you get with this. You can move the arms around a lot. You can lean back like an almost ridiculous amount. And I'm rolling away. This is not a good combo. But in all seriousness, this is a really awesome chair. It's really comfortable, and you get a ton of control for the lumbar support in the back with these knobs. Corsair actually has, I think, everything you would need to have a really compact setup or an all-out streaming setup. It is just kind of wild to see it all come together. This whole setup, like, it took months to really plan it out, get all of the right things in here, and I'm not gonna lie, I love the way it all turned out. We've got a beast of a gaming PC, an extremely comfortable setup. I'm able to go live and stream here whenever I want. I have all of the right equipment for it. It's just awesome to work out of. We went from just trying to outfit a small corner with, just a couple of things to being able to have a fully decked out, capable desk setup that can do literally anything that we want. So you guys let me know if you want to see a video on how to transform your setup, not even talking about buying all the stuff, but more so on how to do it and make your setup look right. Let me know with a comment down below. I might get something in the works. But till then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.